Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. Now, it might not be nighttime, it might be daytime. All depends on where you are in the world watching my show. The thing is, I'm happy you're watching the show. We're in Los Angeles, California right now in my makeshift studio. I wish I was in New Jersey because we'd be having a little bit more food on this table, but we do have a glass of wine that we're going to share, and I'm here with a really close, dear friend of mine who's going to talk all about the business that she's in and who she deals with and being a fantastic Italian woman of the world. This is Madeline Di Nonno, everybody. You
Hello,
can't hear
everybody.
them, but they're screaming.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Mike, for having me on
Of
finally.
course. Thank you, me a hug.
Yes. My brother.
Yes, I'm a younger brother. Can I say younger?
Yes, you can.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I got to be younger than somebody. This is getting ridiculous, man. Doesn't it seem like life is moving a little too fast?
A little too fast.
Like every day, I kind of go to bed going, oh, I'm glad the day is over. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That's another day that just flew by.
Clock's ticking.
And I'm starting to get some weird aches and pains. I went and had a blood test today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to go to someplace different. I didn't know this was going to be part of the conversation, see, but I feel like you're my sister. I could share this with you.
You can.
So I go to get the blood test, and the lady said, our machine's broken. Can you come back tomorrow? And I go, what machine? I thought you just sucked it out and then sent it somewhere. And she had a really thick accent. I don't want to make fun of anybody, but she said, no, you come tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, maybe I won't. Because one thing I can't stand doing to get a blood test is fasting.
Oh, yeah. That can
when
be
you don't
tough.
eat
Yep.
for like, I always try to not eat for 12 hours, thinking I'm going to get the most accurate blood test.
Not always.
What do? And I'm Italian. I got to eat. I got to eat before I go to bed, which is the worst thing.
Which is the worst thing ever. So no intermittent fasting for you?
No, I don't know how to do it. I don't fast. I eat fast. I eat really, really fast. When it's in front of me, I eat it, and that's my fast. Why, you do it?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Naturally, though. I can't really eat in the morning.
Well,
I can barely have coffee in the morning.
You've told me from time to time that you have a lot of food allergies.
Oh, tons. I'm the only Italian in the world who's allergic to tomatoes and garlic and peppers. You don't know anyone else who's Italian who's allergic to those things.
Okay, so
if you do, I'd like to know who they are. Maybe I'll start a club.
I remember going to, I guess, the Columbus Day Parade, thanks to you.
Yes.
This last one that went by. And that was a lot of fun, but I remember going into that, what was that place? The Italian American Club?
No, Columbus Citizens Foundation.
Columbus Citizens Foundation. She hangs out with the muckety mucks. The Columbus Citizens Foundation. You'd think with a foundation like that, they would never even discuss getting rid of a Columbus Day statue. I
got to plead the fifth on that one.
Why?
Because a lot of controversy around the name.
I know, but
all of that stuff.
But that organization, aren't they tough enough to say, no, we're going to stand up for our own?
They absolutely are. They are tough enough, and they do great things.
All right. Well, aside from that, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because they had food everywhere, and you really weren't eating.
No, I ate. I did the lunch.
Yeah, but how could you not do the typical... What do? Look at it? You can't eat tomato.
I smell it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the aroma. Love the aroma of garlic. It's just, it doesn't like me.
But your whole life?
Yes.
So even when you were a kid?
I ate my pasta with butter.
Well,
it killed my parents.
There's nothing wrong with pasta
and butter.
Killed my parents. Are you supposed to have noodles from butter?
Pasta or macaroni?
Noodles.
You don't say pasta or macaroni, you say noodles?
No, let me fix this.
Yeah, let's fix this.
I never said pasta till I moved to California. I said macaroni.
Right, me too. East New York, Brooklyn in the house, macaroni.
Macaroni, spaghetti. Or, if my mother was sitting here, spaghettis. Spaghetti.
Oh, my
But there are egg noodles.
Yeah, that's true.
You get them in a bag.
Yes.
That, with butter and cheese, grated cheese, is delicious. I just made myself so damn hungry. You can't have that. Oh, you could have that.
I could have that.
All right, but those were noodles. Egg noodles. Egg noodles, that's the word.
Yes.
Pasta and butter. Well, that was a little weird.
It was a little weird. It was very painful for my parents, but to watch me.
But did they know you were allergic to it?
Yes. Yes.
So what would it do to you?
I would just get sick, like sickly. It didn't
I don't know.
process, didn't digest.
Oh, really? Gave you a bellyache?
Yeah.
The old term, a bellyache.
Yep.
And you got older, it was the shits. Oh, I got the shits. It's okay. You can say it on my show. I don't give a shit. It's really that bad.
Yeah. Just doesn't jive.
And you couldn't put tomato sauce on it.
Oh no. Nope.
Tomato sauce now, if I was even to say tomato
Gravy
sauce,
or
because I say
sauce?
gravy.
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 It's
Gravy.
gravy.
Hardcore Italians. Gravy. But if I was to have sauce these days, if it doesn't have a lot of meat in it, I get heartburn real bad.
Really?
Sauce gives me heartburn. Gravy
shame.
doesn't. Even brown gravy doesn't. Sauce, because I would assume it's acidity?
Yes.
Acidity? Is that the
Yep.
word?
Yep, it is.
Burns.
Yep.
Is that what happened to you?
It just gave me this bad reactions. My stomach just didn't, and I never liked the taste of tomatoes either. So you have that on top of that.
I have tomatoes right here in my vegetable plate. You want
They
a
look
tomato?
very pretty. No, thank you.
No, you wouldn't have one?
No. Nope.
So what else is on this allergy list?
That's enough. That's
It is
enough for
enough.
everybody to know.
Oh, is that
Garlic,
many more?
tomatoes, peppers. That's a list.
That is a
That's
list.
a list.
Yeah, but they're basically just spices. It's a spice, like a garlic. That's a spice. I mean, you can have a meatball.
I can have a meatball.
No,
But I make turkey meatballs because I actually don't eat red meat.
Oh, she said
I don't
turkey
like red
meatball.
meat. I never liked red meat either. So I would
it's time
have
to break out
butter
the
on my
wine.
pasta.
We're gonna have a glass of wine, a nice
chicken.
red wine. I can't believe you said turkey meatballs. I want to kill myself.
I know, but I don't like red meat.
I can't even think that there's a turkey that turned into a meatball. It's bullshit.
Hey, I enjoy it, and if you ever tried my turkey meatballs, I think you would like them.
Yeah.
I also make chicken meatballs.
I think if you didn't chicken
Meatballs too.
I don't know, maybe chicken might work
It
for
works
me.
well.
I might do a chicken.
Try it,
Ding.
you'll like
Little red wine.
Yep.
Hope that doesn't burn you. This is gonna
No.
scold me, but I love it. I need it. It's been a tough day.
Yes, indeed.
Madeline, where are you originally from? I
How
know you
far
said
back you wanna
Brooklyn.
go?
We're gonna go all the way back to where you were born.
East New York, Brooklyn.
East New York, Brooklyn.
Yep.
Back in the good old days, huh?
Back in the good old days.
It's a lot different now.
It's a lot different now. Went to St. Fortunata, lived off of Linden Boulevard, for any of you who know, Brooklyn. And yeah,
What's the name of the school?
St. Fortunata.
I love that.
Yeah.
Saint Fortunata. What'd you learn in there? How to be a good kid.
Well,
Otherwise you get your ass
wait,
kicked.
wait. So back in the day, for anybody who's listening who went to Catholic school in the 60s, I hope you can relate to this, we had a Palatine order of nuns out of Italy. They beat the living crap out of us.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Not even a joke.
not even a joke. The
She's-
ruler, and you did not want to go to the Mother Superior. That was like facing death. You did not want to go to the Mother Superior because God knows what would happen to you in there.
To send you to a fiery grave.
Yep. Yep.
Is it-
And what was interesting is I'm kind of small, but I have a very loud voice and I can project. And people always wondered why. Because they made us stand at the back of the gymnasium. And if they couldn't hear you all the way from the front, you get smacked. So of course I'm going to be able to project my voice. There you go.
Isn't it amazing how things are so different now? Now you could talk back to a teacher, and if
Lawsuits.
the teacher does anything wrong, they're the one in trouble. I remember going to Catholic school, first grade, second grade, third grade, and you were petrified. Petrified. I had Sister Nicolina, and so did my father. My father had the same teacher I had, and she was old when I had her. Well, even older when I had her. She was older when my father had her. I remember this one sister had wooden false teeth, and they would fall out every once in a while. Try it out in front of a kid who's in second grade. He's going to start crying in seconds. It's petrifying. Look like a pumpkin.
Terrible.
Yeah. And they had that bonnet or whatever that they wore
Yes.
that would scare the bejesus out of you.
Didn't you have to wear like a uniform with a hat? We had almost like a military hat, almost like out of World War II that we had to wear with our uniform. And of course, with the ruler, because girls, you had to make sure the dress was a certain length. You had to wear certain shoes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do remember it. The boys had to wear a tie. It was a clip-on. We all looked identical. Seemed like everybody was in a parade. And the girls wore a skirt, yeah. Came up to the knee. And some kind of a
Yep.
thing went
Yep.
across,
Like a sash.
like a sash.
Yeah.
On
Exactly.
and a white shirt.
Yep.
They had the hats, the girls. The boys didn't have no hat.
Yeah, you didn't have a hat.
I
Why
never
did we
had the
have
hat.
hats? I always
I don't
wondered. I don't know.
And I remember at recess, you could just do one little tiny thing wrong, like bump into a rock with your foot, and they put you up against the gate. Get against the gate. You stood against the gate. Try any of that now. Watch what happens.
Oh my goodness. I know. Very different time. Although I was lucky. I did have some very, very nice teachers, some very nice nuns, but then there were the others.
I don't remember any of the nice nuns. I don't know what school you went to. It was scary. It was really scary. And then when we moved out to the suburbs and we went to public school, I think we were even scared twice as much, because now you get all these kids running around doing whatever they want, and you didn't have to wear the uniform.
True.
I remember going to school for the first time, and they're like, "You could just come in jeans and a t-shirt." I'm like, really? And when they're not going to teach you any religion, you got to go to a special school. It's called Sunday school at the church. So you went to Sunday school at the church, which had classrooms, but that was even more petrifying.
Was it really?
Yeah, nothing like a hot spring day. You're still in school, and you got to go to Sunday school at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday after just trying to have a Saturday off. That was scary.
Very true. Well, what was so different for me is, so when I lived in Brooklyn, you were either Italian, you were Jewish, you were black, etc., Irish. When I moved to New Jersey, it was as if I moved to another land. I was the smallest, I was the loudest, and I had this accent, this hard Brooklynese accent, so nobody liked me. I was a complete outcast. These girls, I don't know what cow milk they drank, but they towered over me. I remember when I was making my confirmation, I think it was me and one other girl. We were like number 1 and number 2. So I didn't have friends for a lot of years. People made fun of me.
Well, because
so it was a tough transition.
You were the Guidette tough chick from the city.
I was.
That's the city.
Yep.
To the people in New Jersey, in the suburban area, you're a city girl. Watch out. Did you have high hair? How old were you when you moved?
It was like 5th grade.
Okay, so that's a teenager? 13?
No, not even, I don't think. No, I was like 10 years old.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I was about 10 years old.
So even
I remember
then,
I was 4'4" and I weighed like 56 pounds. I mean, crazy how you remember some of those things. But
wow.
yeah.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I'm an only.
You're the only kid.
Yeah.
Wow, so that is tough, because you didn't even have an older brother to say, you need to come to school and kick somebody's ass for me.
You know, I did pretty good.
Oh, you
I
did?
was able to defend myself.
Little knuckle sandwich.
I was able to defend myself.
So now you're living in New Jersey, your family's from Italy and all of that. When did you come out to Los Angeles?
I was recruited and relocated in 91 by Universal, and it was the home video division at the time. Never had a California dreaming kind of wish. It was just, I love the entertainment industry, decided I want to go back into entertainment. And interesting enough,
You said back into entertainment.
well, I had started in entertainment. So when so I'm lucky, I'm the first to go to college in my family. We didn't have any connections. And so when I was in high school, I wanted to do internships. So my family's friend, Frankie, and I got to give a shout out to Frankie, always dated very high-powered women. Always high-powered women. And he literally got me all my internships. And one of my first internships was at ABC TV.
In the city.
In the city. And so I wound up working
We
there.
got to tell people, because people who watch from different parts of the world don't know exactly what that means. Brooklyn is a city, but to us, the city is Manhattan, Manhattan Island.
Very, very true.
I never
Manhattan Island.
even knew that we had the wrong terminology till I moved to California. Because
Really?
people would say to me all the time, "So where are you from?" I says, "Well, I'm from New Jersey, but I spent a lot of time in the city." And they were like, "Huh? What city?" "Well, you're the city." That's tri-state.
Yeah,
That's what that
exactly.
means. Well, we're working in the city.
Oh my
Then you come here
gosh.
and they're like, "The city? What the fuck does that mean?
Oh my
What's the
gosh.
city? You know the city.
Oh
You
my
mean
gosh.
Manhattan?" Yeah, it's called Manhattan. When's the last time you actually said Manhattan? When you
Never.
fill out an envelope, do you write the word down, Manhattan?
No, I don't think I've ever written a word.
NYCNY.
Exactly.
I didn't even know what would happen if you wrote Manhattan. Would it get there?
Well, maybe we have to mail a postcard. And check
I gotta
it out
send a postcard to
Gotta
somebody in
send a
Manhattan and
postcard.
say, "Hey, Manhattan, New York."
and see what happens.
Probably get returned to sender
Well,
from somebody in Manhattan going, "What are you, stupid?"
next show he'll be holding up the postcard.
There's
It'll
no
be sent
address to
back.
Manhattan.
It'll be sent back.
All right, so you got to go work in the city.
The
Big
city,
Apple.
the big city. So I worked at ABC. By the time I graduated college, I had 4 years of experience, which is great. It was my first job out of college, but at that time there weren't a lot of moves that you could make in terms of becoming an executive. And so one of Frankie's other girlfriends got me another job, and that was at Lancome. And
Isn't Lancome's headquarters in New Jersey?
no,
No?
no.
You know
Well,
why I
actually,
asked you?
Paris,
Oh, in Paris.
because they're part of L'Oreal. So technically, it's Paris, but major location in the city in New York.
Oh,
So
hell
that
yeah.
was my next move. Yeah. And anyway, make a long story short. So that was cosmetics, and I did some other things. And I thought, you know what? I really want to go back to entertainment. I don't really have that many connections. And so I built a database for myself. There were some people that I knew had certain jobs in entertainment that I could understand. People who work for MTV or places like that. And then I had some friends out in California in entertainment. So I actually created like a direct mail campaign for myself. And instead of your traditional resume, I did who I am, what I want, where I've done it. And I wrote a whole letter about time and time efficiency and saving you time, etc. And I actually ordered these paper digital watches, and I clipped the watch to the letter to the resume, and then I ordered this white 8.5 by 11 box out of Brooklyn because I thought some assistant is not going to just chuck my resume in the garbage if it comes in this nice big white box. So lo and behold, I sent about 150 of those out, got about a 30% return. One of those was the president of Universal Home Entertainment. And he said, hey, if you're ever out in LA, let's meet. And one of my friends from New Jersey had already moved out here. And I thought, what the heck? And that's how the whole thing happened. And then they wound up moving me out here in 1991.
Genius. Listen to
go.
you. Wow.
That's how it happened.
Little boxes, not an envelope to
No,
put the
it
resume
was
in.
an 8.5 by 11 box, just so thick, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to get tossed in the garbage.
Yeah, wow. Most people probably thought it was a gift.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at you.
Well, and here I am today with you.
All right, so when you got out to California, that job was?
I was director of marketing for Universal Studios Home Video. And it was at the time where in home entertainment, it was the Wild West, where they were just going from beta to VHS. And it was a really exciting time. And then stayed there all the way practically till DVD came out. So it was a really fun time.
Yeah, boy, I would say that's the 80s, right?
90s.
90s?
Mm-hmm. That was the
Wasn't
90s.
VHS created in the 80s?
Well, no, because it was beta and then VHS.
Beta?
Mm-hmm.
I remember we would do TV commercials in Manhattan, and the copy they would give you was on 3/4. I remember Beta being the rival of a VCR.
Mm-hmm.
There was a VHS and Beta. They rivaled each other.
They did.
And then didn't VHS win?
It sure did.
And killed Beta.
And killed Beta.
Fucking Beta.
No more Beta.
What happened to Beta?
Poor
Weren't they
Beta.
smaller? they would just say just a little smaller of a thing that you put into your machine.
I think.
Isn't it amazing how some things stick and some things don't? Like MySpace was around, and then came Facebook and wiped out MySpace. Basically the same thing.
Exactly.
How does that happen? All right, so you're working at this company.
Yep.
And that's what you wanted?
Yes, I was thrilled.
You didn't
I got
want
back into entertainment, and I love working on movies and TV shows. And one of the things that was the most fun was at that time, Universal had and probably still does have a remarkable library that went all the way back to the 1920s. They also had the Paramount Library pre-1949. So I got to watch all these great movies and take these things out of the vault and bring them out into the world where no one had seen them since they were actually in a movie theater. So from the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. So it was a lot of fun.
What's it like? A 30s movie, a 40s movie, it's in a vault? Is it like some cold vault, like a refrigerator? Is it on film?
Just about, in big old canisters. And these things were protected. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I would love to see an old movie in the can, like the can, or what is it called, a cylinder, and have them put it on a reel and watch it load and go tick 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 tick, you know?
Exactly.
But they're all digitized now, right?
Now I think, well, at that time we were starting to digitize, so I'm sure everything is digitized now.
Yeah, wow. Could you imagine back in the day when they used to edit a film and they had that thing and they would clip it and cut it and chop it and take forever?
Take forever, I know.
Now it's a thing of the past. Now people edit in their phone while they're on the bathroom toilet.
Exactly.
Wait a minute, I'm making a movie. Oh my God.
It's happening.
Right?
Yeah.
So are you still connected with those people from that
many
job?
of them. Many. Still friends with many of them.
Is it all gone? The building gone?
Oh, no. Universal's huge. Takes up most of Studio City.
Right, but I meant like, let's say that division of work.
It was absorbed into other divisions. So time moves on.
When I did my first, let's say, major DVD that came out in Target and in stores like that.
What was it?
Live from Asbury Park. It's my first
really
big shoot.
Did you do it at the Stone Pony?
No, across the street in the Paramount.
I still have my Stone Pony jacket.
Oh, now we're going to talk shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's worth a lot of money. And I'm a collector.
You want my Stone Pony satin jacket?
Yes.
It's in perfect condition.
Get the hell out of here.
No.
You got that jacket?
Yeah.
You know who's on the show? Vinny Mad Dog Lopez.
Well, I'll send you.
Guess where he plays?
Yeah. Stone Pony?
Holy shit.
I've had that jacket since the 70s.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you get one now, it's probably just a replica.
Probably. I got the real deal.
You got the real deal.
Real deal.
Is it like really small? I guess I couldn't fit it.
It's
You got it?
It's girl size.
Do you frame it? I frame a lot of
No,
shit.
but it's in a nice little garment bag.
Now, you got to display it. I display everything in my basement. I like people to come over and go, man, is that a 1970s Asbury Park jacket? I'm like, yeah, it's autographed by Bruce. I'm like, wow. Right?
Yeah, I don't have the wall space.
Where is the jacket? Here in California?
Yeah, it's in my closet.
Really? See, now, if you brought that over here, we would be
If you would have asked me, Madeline,
how would I know?
Pony jacket. Well, now you know. Next time. If there's a next time, I will wear the jacket. I promise.
It's gonna. I collect shit. I just don't know why, but I love stuff, and I love going to the Stone Pony. I love going to the Wonder Bar, and
do people know what we're talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the town is so damn famous.
Yeah.
It's not only Bruce Springsteen that made Asbury Park as famous as it is. That Paramount Theater's first performance was the Marx Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah. Then, who's really the biggest singer to come out of New Jersey? Everybody seems to forget every once in a while. Sinatra. So who played down there? Sinatra. It's even in one of his songs, in Asbury Park, and he talks about it. Because, in the 20s, the Roaring 20s or the 30s, Asbury Park was the place to be. People
The
went down there
place.
with their jacket and tie. Not a stone pony. Wasn't even there yet. And people sat in the Swan and the rides, and then that's '60s race riots, Bruce Springsteen, and trashed. Now it's rejuvenated, and the town's worth billions of dollars.
I think it's hard to get a condo there too now. Very expensive.
Yeah, could you imagine? And there used to be houses in this town, Asbury Park, probably in the late '80s. You can get for $150,000, and it would have like 20 bedrooms. That's not even a joke, because everybody went to the beach for the weekends, but only in the summer. So a lot of houses didn't have heat. All you got to do is go get a heater now.
Did you used to rent in the summer?
Not in Asbury, Belmar.
Where was
I was
think it
never really an Asbury guy.
Bradley Beach.
Bradley Beach.
All us city kids went to the Bradley Beach.
Yeah, Bradley
we transported from the neighborhood to Bradley Beach every Friday.
From the neighborhood.
From the neighborhood.
From the neighborhood.
Lower West Side.
They left Manhattan.
And it's the only time that the East Siders and the West Siders got along was when we went to Jersey.
Yeah, because when they came to New Jersey, they started fights with the people from New Jersey.
Now, we were loving people, friendly,
Yeah.
loving people.
Sunday afternoon happy hour. What happened? We
At
got
the
in a fight.
Where'd you used to go to?
The Green
Montego
Parrot.
Bay.
Montego, yes.
Montego Bay.
Montego Bay.
Does everybody know about that?
Well, no,
Green
but
Parrot,
maybe if I could get my
Montego
head out of my
Bay.
ass, I'll make a documentary about Montego Bay.
We
And-
should.
Well, I'll show you some footage eventually of some stuff that I have. Recently, I took every DVD, every mini DV, and VHS copy that I could find, everything that I've had my entire life, and I've been sending it to this place called iMemories, and they send it back to you on a hard drive.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So you get it back on the hard drive. God knows what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to try to put it on the internet and let people see some stuff.
I think it could be fun.
Little YouTube channel memory thing. But we got off track.
We got it way off track.
But that's good. So the DVD we did it at the Paramount in Asbury.
Mm-hmm.
The Paramount was condemned. I went in there because some radio jock told me he thought it would be a good idea if I pretended I was the Bruce Springsteen of stand-up. So shoot and do it where he did it. And, it was condemned. They locked it up. It had been locked up for like 20 years. But I got it for free. So it's a 1,600-seat theater, and it looked like, there was ghosts everywhere and scary people. But I got it. And when I went to go shoot, technically I was hoping I would just have a couple hundred people. But because of some publicity stunts that I did, we got 1,600 people.
Wow,
and it
full
looked
house.
Pretty amazing, yeah. We shot it. So I think the point I was trying to make is when I went back to the place that gave me the money to go shoot was called Image Entertainment. And they were
Yes.
like the biggest.
Yeah.
They did everybody's DVD and
Yep.
movies and transferring or whatever it is. And it was in the stores and it aired and this, that, and the other thing. And then DVDs became a thing of the past. And that whole company went out of business.
Yep.
Gone.
Yep.
Multi-million-dollar company doing
Well,
some
look at
great
all the
stuff.
video
Gone.
stores. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
There used to be a mom and pop video store, then Blockbuster, now
Right?
nothing.
Nothing.
Kind of makes you wonder.
Music Land,
What's gonna
Sam
be
Goody, all those.
Sam Goody. Remember the
Remember?
commercial? Goody got it.
Yeah.
Goody got it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm telling you. I don't know. Nothing. What is it? The only thing constant is change.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Well, so now you're not working at that company no more. When did you end up working with where you're working right now?
So actually, it was a personal experience, and I think sometimes things happen to us and make us think twice about what we're doing. And I was very, very privileged to have the opportunity to become CEO of a company, and it sounded great. Sometimes things sound great on paper. Got in there, and guess what? Turned out it wasn't really the right thing. I knew it wasn't going to work out for me. And at the
You were the CEO of a company.
yes,
Can't mention the company.
nah, they're not around anymore.
Well, then who would care?
Well, anyways,
Ex-company.
ex-company.
You
so
were the CEO.
I was the CEO, and it was like, hang the shingle out. I finally got to that level I wanted to reach. And at the same time,
What were you at the company?
I was the CEO.
I know of what type? Making
it
movies?
It was right before YouTube. It was right when virtual videos were starting to become like a thing. It was
Mhm.
right at the beginning of that. So there was a lot of potential. And but anyway, it wasn't going to work out for a lot of reasons, which you'll all fall asleep. So I won't bother to go into that. But at the same time, one of my very dear friends who I'd worked with at Universal was very unhappy in her job, and she wanted to make a transition. And unfortunately, she actually died 5 days after I spoke with her, unexpectedly. She was about to turn 50. She had a whole trip planned for Paris, never got to take it, obviously. And it was the combination of those two things, which was like a boulder dropping on my head. And I thought, you know what? Maybe the universe is telling me to take a pause and think before I just jump into the next thing. So the thought bubble, as crazy as it may sound, that came into my head is, what if I could use my power for good? What would that look like? But I got to work. I'm not a trust fund baby. So I started speaking, just in case you were curious.
Wait a
just
minute.
in case. Just in case.
Do you know anybody that's a trust fund baby?
I don't, but
Are
maybe
they
you'll have
single?
them
Are
on
they
the
single?
show. Maybe you'll have them on the show. So I started talking to other people in the entertainment industry that had made transitions. And lo and behold, one of my dear friends, Susan Frank, had become the COO of the Entertainment Industry Foundation, which is one of the largest and oldest nonprofits in LA. You may know them from Stand Up to Cancer and a lot of other things. Fantastic organization. And she said, why don't you come consult with us while you try to figure it out? I said, great. So I did that, but I still needed a job. And I kept interviewing and networking. Lo and behold, I was still on a BlackBerry, and I see this job come through for the, see Jane. And I'm like, and I hand the phone to my husband because I said, I tend to read the verbs, so read this very carefully. And it turned out to be the job with Geena. So I work for two-time Oscar-winning award actor Geena Davis, who's fabulous. And anyway, she had started this nonprofit by accident. And that's how the whole thing happened.
How's it an accident?
Well, she had achieved a high level of fame from some of her iconic roles, and she became a mom. She had her daughter at 46, and she started watching preschool programming with her daughter like you would as a parent. And she was shocked that she didn't see a lot of female characters. So she literally started counting how many female characters were in a movie, in a show, in a video. And she thought it was odd. So she started talking to her friends, talking to people in industry, and said, hey, did you notice there was only one female character in this entire movie? And people saying, no, I'm not aware of that. Or no, we have such and such characters, so we have the whole gender fixed. So she thought, I need this thing called data. I want to know if I'm right. Is it true that there are very few female characters in popular content? And she bootstrapped it, raised a boatload of money, did the first ever study, and proved her theory right, and started an organization. And 20 years later, here we are.
How long are you working with Geena?
15 years.
15 years.
15 years, yeah.
And you said she's a two-time Oscar winner.
Yes.
What are the two movies?
Accidental Tourist.
Accidental Tourist.
Best Supporting. And then she was awarded the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award Oscar a few years back.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
It is.
So now is her production company or the company that you work for, are they doing movies? Are they doing television?
So we're actually a research institute. So we don't produce anything, we don't make anything, but we're consultants to the industry, and we help them with inclusion, diversity on screen. We only focus on who's showing up and how are they showing up, because that was the thing that no one really paid attention to. Whereas you could quote the stats on how few female directors or producers or writers. Everybody's known about that for 100 years, but no one really thought about who's on screen. It was really kind of unconscious bias.
Mm-hmm.
But with the data, people were really surprised, and we were able to start to change things.
So what exactly do you do at the company?
So I have the privilege of being the president and CEO, and I lead a very small team that focuses on research. We do a lot of great studies. In fact, tomorrow we're releasing a study on the portrayal of moms in TV. And we do TV studies, film studies. We do some private consulting for a lot of the major studios, and it's all with an eye on helping them include more people, more diverse people in their content.
Well, let me ask you this question, okay? So you're gonna try to include more women in, like, say, film and television or whatever the job is. It's whatever the job, not just industry, right?
We look at global advertising, gaming, TV, and film.
Right. And do they try to go from today forward, or they're trying to resurrect what was going on in the past?
Let me answer it this way. So if someone sends us a script and says, I want you to analyze the script, and it takes place in Texas in the 1960s, that's going to be the ground truth. We're going to look at what was the population in Texas in the 1960s. Do you know what I'm saying? So we ground it in reality. And then it's up to the content creator if they want to do some kind of historical fiction. We don't tell people what to do. We don't invade the authentic truth of the storyteller. We just say, hey, there's 100 actors in this movie, and guess what? 20 of them speak 10 plus lines. That's an opportunity. So think about it before you cast it. I'm not telling you what to do, but just think about it.
See, because in other words, sometimes I say to myself, wow, if I want to make a project and somebody says to me, well, you need to include a bunch of these, let's say women. You need to include a bunch of women. I'm like, yeah, but it didn't go that way.
Right.
The story's about this. This is the way the story went. They weren't part of it. How can I do that? Do I have to do that? And who's the person who tells me you have to do it?
Well, the thing is, it's your authentic story. So in that case, maybe you have 50 actors in your story. Maybe one of the actors is working in a store. Maybe one of the actors is serving you a burger at takeout. It's not invading your story, but maybe that's a different kind of person.
Okay.
We don't know.
See, behind the scenes, you can do whatever you want, unless you're telling a story that's, let's say, a documentary. And I always thought, I just want to work with people who are good at what they do. I don't care what you are.
Exactly.
Are you good at what you do? Perfect. Let's go.
There you go.
I don't care. You don't like pasta? Doesn't bother me. Are you good at what you do?
Exactly.
There was a time, and we're going to talk about this too, where a bunch of Italians from New York and New Jersey, here in Los Angeles, I think felt like we were misplaced. We lacked that family unit. And we searched out something that we could do together that would make everybody say, look at the Italians. Wow. And that became what was called the Feast of San Gennaro. I don't remember what year you came aboard.
First year.
First year?
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
I remember when I got my first phone call from Doug DeLuca, who is the executive producer or one of the producers on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Prior to that, he was on The Man Show. Now, I knew Doug from New York and New Jersey. I knew him when he was a kid. I knew Elvis Rustano when he was a kid, and all of those cats. We used to just have parties out here with beer kegs and doing stupid shit. So when they said, okay, we want to see if we can create a Feast of San Gennaro and see who we know out here that can help us create some buzz. I had been doing sketch comedy on Talk Soup with Greg Cannizzaro. So that's how I knew Greg, and Greg was always coming to see me do some shows. So I told him one day, I'll never even forget it. I was driving in a beat-up Jeep with no money in my pocket, and he says, what are you doing tonight? I says, my friend Doug is having a meeting. They're going to try to create the Feast of San Gennaro like in New York. And he goes, pull over. You can't do it without me. I got to be part of it. And that was just a matter of time where everybody started doing that. They came out of the woodwork like bugs, just looking for that crumb.
Absolutely.
And I brought Greg to the meeting, and I remember him saying to Doug, you can't do this unless New York says it's okay. And he goes, what? And he goes, yup, if you don't call Cha-Cha downtown, this is not a good idea. And I'm like, Greg, this ain't the mob. And he goes, kind of it is. You better watch what you're doing. Besides, you're going to need a sponsor. And I know this, and the guy was Jewish too, and he called this Jewish guy in New York, and he said, they're going to do the Feast of San Gennaro. Cha-Cha says okay, and he goes, okay, well, I'll get you a sponsor. I'll get you a dealership. And he did. So Greg came in with that dealership. It was $100,000 a year for 7 years. And I remember Doug looking at me going, wow, you're a player. I go, no, I'm not a player. I knew the player. He brought this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes, okay, then we're going to have to create the board of directors. And I had never been part of anything like that. I'm like, do we really need to go about this way? Well, we got to give all the money to a charity. We can't just take in all this money and have fun with it. And I was kind of like, are you sure? You have a little bit of a job? And that's when I met Claire Ambrosio. And Claire came in with that other big shot. What was his name? Unfortunately, half of these guys are dead. She was really good friends with him. They were all part of the Italian Lawyers Association.
Tony.
Well, there's a lot of Tonys.
We'll think of it. We'll think of it while we're talking.
Oh, they were big shots in the Italian world,
Mm-hmm.
and they all came to it, and it was pretty amazing. And then I started meeting all the people that we know today that, unfortunately, we're not in touch with each other the way we were. I think we were one tight-ass group of people, right?
Yeah, for at least a decade.
Yes, at least 10 years. I was on the board for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know what, I'm going on tour, and I can't keep doing this. It almost became like, it felt like it was a job. And I think the board of directors spent so much time and effort, we should have gotten paid. But then Ann Potenza did get paid, and she created her own career on that, which was a wonderful thing.
Wonderful thing.
But I got to meet so many entertainers. So who brought you in? How'd you get in that?
All by myself. So I was an outsider in LA. I missed not having an Italian American community because I lived on the Lower West Side in the neighborhood. And I was searching for community and something to do. And I don't know how I saw something about this meeting that was happening. And I called Mickey Marcelia.
Yes, that's Ann
And
Potenza's
she's
sister,
like,
right?
come on in. And I showed up in this gymnasium
Mm-hmm.
with there was like 100 people there. 50,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know anybody. And I said, I want in, I want to help. And that's how I got involved. And it was great because there was just no community, no real Italian American community in LA that I could find anyway. And that's how I met you and, our friend Mario, who I was just on the phone with on the way here, and Doug and Ann and everybody.
This is one of the ways you can dig in and find a new family. You can create a family. This is what we did. A rumor, because there really wasn't the internet. We really weren't doing MySpace. There was no Instagram. Everybody called each other. So when we were doing the Feast of San Gennaro in the first year, everything was almost like word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Who became the printer? Anybody with a last name that had a vowel. We put on a golf tournament. Anybody who had the last name ended in a vowel. Well, where are we going to start the parade from? Well, you got to have a church. And I don't even know how we found that church in Hollywood. I don't know who did. I was not familiar with the church. But then we meet this man. His name is Father Antonio. And he was so cool. His accent was so slick. He was so kind and so sweet, so nice to everybody. And he became the priest. It became the church. What was the name of that church? Christ the King.
Christ the King.
Christ the King Church.
Beautiful church. If you're ever out in LA, check it out.
Old.
Old.
It almost looked
History.
like 1800s.
A lot of history.
Yeah, you go in there and the saints move. So, and then we had Frankie's on Melrose, and all these Italian people brought out their delicacies. But in the second year, they decided to move it to across the street. No, the first year and second year was across the street from Capitol Records.
Right.
So where did they go to rehearse? Capitol Records. I have footage of me and all those stars rehearsing at Capitol Records.
Oh, you got
in the
see
Frank
that.
Sinatra room.
We got to see that. We got to see.
And I was so new to hosting, I was like shaking in my boots. Oh my God, I can't believe these people here. I don't know if you remember, but I introduced Lou Rawls one night, and it hit the papers because they said, boy, you think I don't look Italian. Wait till you see this guy. Maybe he's Sicilian. Lou Rawls. Did he say that? But I was so happy, and Lou was cool as shit. But here you are meeting these people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was the fourth year was the first year we carried a saint down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
I do. Quite the procession.
Yes.
And thank God we had LAPD,
PD.
the Italian American LAPD,
Mm-hmm.
blocking off traffic.
Yep. They had the firemen go out there and they crisscrossed ladders over the Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
We came around. All we were doing was just walking down one street. And if it didn't look like the scene out of The Godfather, I don't know what did. It's so cool to see the priest in the front holding the statue, and all the kids behind him were not Italian. Nope, they were all Mexican and not Asian, but
I don't know.
they were all coming out of Father Antonio's church.
Yeah, so it was the community.
Yes, big community, a lot
Big
more
parish.
than
Big
Italians,
parish.
that's for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And it looked super cool. We had the Pop Pop band, and it was just great. Fast forward, everybody's in a different position in their world now.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, the guy who was running the Italian police officer organization was Joe Buscaino.
Yeah.
And he was a friend of mine. He was just a foot cop. Then he became the mayor of San Pedro, and he ran for mayor of Los Angeles. I don't think he won, of course, but now he's a councilman. And Father Antonio, who was a priest at the time, you just told me is...
He's a Monsignor at the cathedral downtown LA, which is a magnificent architectural wonder. For anyone who's coming to LA, you've got to visit the cathedral. Alabaster, it's spectacular.
I've never seen it.
You've got to go.
I haven't seen him in 100 years.
We'll go together.
I would love to go
Yeah.
down there. And then they have downtown somewhere that I'm really not familiar with, the Los Angeles Italian American Museum.
Yes, and it's on the site where the original Italian winery used to be. So it's right near Olivera Street. So that's kind of the property that it's sitting on. It's a very
Olivera.
old building, yeah.
I never been there.
Yeah, it's great.
I never been there. Now that's being run by...
Mariana Gatto.
Mhm.
And right now I think they still have a Louis Prima exhibit. They worked with the family. They have a spectacular exhibit of all of his art and his costumes and letters, and he was the who's who. He knew everybody. Elvis, Sinatra, everybody.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Louis Prima. I've been the opening act for Louis Prima Jr. in The Witness a bunch of times.
And what about Lena? His daughter Lena. She's been
I
performing
only
all
met
over.
Lena once because she performed at the Feast
She's
of San
terrific.
Gennaro.
Yeah,
I don't know her.
yeah, she's great.
I talked to Louis once about his half sister, right? But I think there's a lot of family members that they don't.
What family doesn't have that?
I don't get it.
What family doesn't
Thank
have
God
that?
I get along with my two brothers. That's all we got.
That's all you have.
That's all we got. That's why we were talking about sometimes you wonder why some Italians don't stick together to help each other. What's the big deal? It's kind of easy. You're gonna do it to somebody else anyway.
Exactly.
Why not to you? I don't know. Is it like that in many different races? Maybe.
I don't know.
I was always told it's the Italian ego. I remember when I first started hanging around with Greg Cannizzaro. I hope you watched this episode, Greg. I remember he said he brought precious cheese to the table. And one night they didn't have enough people to fit into the mascot. So Greg and his girlfriend at the time, Paula.
Who he's married to, right?
He ended up marrying
Yeah.
Paula. He's no longer married to Paula. But I stayed in touch with them all this time. And Greg got in a mascot uniform, and he was the string cheese man. And Paula got in one, and she was the string cheese man. And they're walking around giving out string cheese, me nice. I remember saying to him, "What are you doing? You're the president of this shit. You're not supposed to be in that." He goes, "There's nobody here." And I go, "Are you guys okay?" And he lifted off his thing, and they were so drunk.
Oh my! I was going to say, did they have a fan inside? Because
They
it's
do.
hot.
They did.
You keel over.
It has a fan in the head.
Yeah.
And they were wasted. And I'm like, I want to get wasted too. Because we used to have so much fun. And
We
the
had a
food
lot of
that
fun.
you would get. But I remember him saying to me, he goes, "Here's the problem with the Italians. A Jewish guy will wear a Rolex watch and tell another Jewish guy, 'You see this Rolex? It's $10,000. Let me show you how to get one.' An Italian guy will say to another Italian person, 'See this Rolex? It's $10,000. You're never going to have one.'"
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I can't say that's my experience, but
What's in the future for you now? So what's going on with the company and Geena?
well, actually a lot. So I want to thank Mike also for having me. This is Women's History Month, and being the fabulous feminist that you are. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Got to give him props.
Wait a
People don't
minute.
realize that.
I don't know when this is going to air. So what month is?
March is Women's History
That's
Month.
what I knew. I was told.
And that's why you had me on the show,
Yes.
isn't it? Because
This
you
is-
knew that.
Yes, I did. Actually, Tatiana probably knew. This is-
But anyway, this is our 20th anniversary. And so we're celebrating 20 years. And we're doing a little bit of a rebrand. We're shortening our name to the Geena Davis Institute. And we have a new logo that's going to be happening. Mission stays the same. And we have a lot of research. I mean, like you, we were deeply impacted by the strike, like a lot of people were in the entertainment industry. So a lot of the research studies that were supposed to come out last year are coming out this year. So tomorrow we have a motherhood study coming out. In May, we have portrayal of mental health in children's TV study coming out. We have a lot of research coming out. So hopefully it'll be a big year for us.
Does Geena at all want to perform anymore, or does she? And I'm just not
She
aware of it. She doesn't
does.
want to do
She-
movies.
No. In fact, she is in Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut. It's called Blink Twice, and I think it's coming out in August in theaters. She's in that. And then she has a number of things happening. So she absolutely wants to act. For anybody out there who wants to know, yes, absolutely loves acting.
Did I read somewhere that she, somewhere in this crazy world of show business, was unhappy the way she gets treated, even at her level?
She's been very lucky. She has not experienced what so many of the actors and actresses behind, the Me Too movement had experienced. But, there's always been that actor, that producer, that so-and-so, but she hasn't experienced some of the horrific stories that you hear coming out. It's been good for her, that way.
Is she still good friends with Michael Keaton?
I'm not sure. Speaking of former people she worked with, I don't know if you saw, but her and Jeff Goldblum presented at the SAG Awards together.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was fabulous. So they've always stayed in touch.
Wow, what a movie.
And
Oh,
yeah,
The Fly.
The Fly.
The second version. Was it the second version? There was an original version of The Fly with, Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Which was scary as hell then, and you didn't see any creature. But then again, when Jeff Goldblum did it, that was disgusting. One hell of a movie.
One hell of a movie.
And they remained friends after all
Yes,
this time?
they
wow,
have.
they were
Absolutely.
so young in that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, what we got to do is we got to get you and some more of your friends to come and see a Mike Marino show. See if we can't get Geena Davis to come and sit in a Mike Marino show so I could talk about The Fly.
Anything's possible.
I'm trying. We're trying. We're having fun. And of course, this show is produced by a woman.
I know. Give a shout out to Tatiana. Yay.
We always thank Tatiana at the end of every show. I think sometimes producers don't get the due that they're supposed to.
I agree.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
Nobody ever realizes there's somebody behind the personality that you're watching. And sometimes the producer is, well, not sometimes, a lot of the times a little smarter than the personality that keeps the personality on track.
But that's the key to success. Always hiring
team.
people who are smarter than you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Or good at what they do.
There you go.
No matter what they look like.
That's right.
Or what their gender.
That's
or
right.
what their race.
That's right.
Are you good at what you do?
Yeah.
Are you good at what you do? Did you have some fun here today?
I
This is
did. Well,
different.
just being able to catch up is fabulous.
Are you on the internet? Tell everybody where they can find you.
So on social media, you can follow the Institute if you're interested at GeenaDavis.org. If you're interested in me, I'm not as exciting as Mike, but it's at Madeline Di Nonno, which is a very, very long name. And no donation is too large. Become a member of the Institute, get to meet Geena, come to a bunch of our wonderful events. We do events in New York and LA and a lot of places, and it's fabulous to be here with you.
I need to go to one of the events.
Yes, he does.
I want to meet Geena. I want to hang around with Madeline. We're going to bring Tatiana with us so that we can all mix and mingle. And I don't know, maybe we can get some other people on the show.
You never know.
You never know.
Never know.
All right, listen, folks. Big shout out to Tatiana Blue Show for always making our show fantastic and bringing great guests down to the basement. And you can now watch us all the time exclusively on my YouTube channel, which is Mike Marino Live on YouTube. And not only can you listen to us on Spotify, but you can watch us on Spotify these days. And you can listen to the show on Italian American Radio out of New York with our friend. Do you know Johnny Mandolin?
Not personally.
You heard of him?
Yes,
John D.
of course.
Mandolin. He's in New York City. He's always part of the Feast of San Gennaro in Los Angeles. And he does a lot of good stuff for the Italian community. Rock and roll, Johnny Mandolin. We got to get going. Remember, let's make America Italian again. My motto is, you don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts? By saying the same thing along with my guest. Don't take no shit from nobody.
Never.
No, that's what we're going to say.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Don't take no shit from nobody. Hey folks, thanks for watching live from my mother's basement. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, hit the word like and leave me a really cool comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes, and you can watch some of the funniest videos on the internet. You can also listen to the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app.